John Stuart Mill's On Liberty, published in 1859, is one of the most important works in the tradition of liberal thought. It examines the nature and limits of the power that can be legitimately exercised by society over the individual. Mill explores the struggle between liberty and authority, analyzing the role of the state, public opinion, and individual rights in modern society. This essay will provide a detailed discussion of Mill's ideas on liberty, individual freedom, and the role of government, as outlined in On Liberty. The principle of liberty. The central theme of Mill's work is the concept of liberty. He asserts that individuals should be free to act however they wish, as long as their actions do not harm others. Mill argues that society should only restrict an individual's freedom to prevent harm to others. This principle, often referred to as the harm principle, serves as the foundation of Mill's argument for individual liberty. According to Mill, the only justification for interference in an individual's actions is to prevent harm to someone else. He famously writes, "The only purpose for which power can be rightfully exercised over any member of a civilized community, against his will, is to prevent harm to others." Freedom of speech. One of the most important applications of Mill's principle of liberty is his defense of free speech. Mill argues that freedom of expression is essential for the development of knowledge, truth, and human progress. He contends that all opinions, even those that are unpopular or offensive, should be allowed to be expressed. Mill warns that silencing any opinion, no matter how false or harmful it may seem, is dangerous. He reasons that truth can only emerge through open debate and discussion, and that false ideas challenge us to refine and strengthen our understanding of the truth. Mill's defense of free speech remains one of the most powerful and enduring arguments for the importance of open discourse in democratic societies. The tyranny of the majority. Another key concern in On Liberty is what Mill refers to as the tyranny of the majority. Mill warns that the power of public opinion can be just as oppressive as the power of the government. In a democratic society, where the majority rules, there is a danger that the rights of minorities and individuals will be ignored or trampled upon. Mill argues that society should be vigilant in protecting individual freedoms from the pressure of majority opinion. He asserts that even in a democracy, individuals must be free to think, speak, and act according to their own conscience, without fear of social punishment or ostracism. The limits of authority. Mill also addresses the limits of authority, both governmental and societal. He argues that the state should only intervene in individual affairs to prevent harm to others, as outlined in the harm principle. However, Mill recognizes that the state has a legitimate role in maintaining order and enforcing laws. He also acknowledges that certain individuals, such as children or those unable to care for themselves, may require more intervention for their own protection. Nevertheless, Mill emphasizes that the state should not interfere with the choices of competent adults unless those choices directly harm others. The state's authority must be limited to avoid infringing upon personal freedoms. Individuality and social progress. A recurring theme in Mill's work is the importance of individuality. Mill believes that individuality is essential for personal happiness and social progress. He argues that human beings are not meant to conform to one standard way of living, and that each individual should be allowed to experiment with different ways of life. Mill celebrates diversity and individual uniqueness, seeing it as a source of strength and creativity. He asserts that society should encourage and protect the development of individual character, as it leads to progress and improvement for all. For Mill, individuality is not just a personal good but a social good that benefits society as a whole. Moral and intellectual development. In On Liberty, Mill also discusses the role of liberty in fostering moral and intellectual development. He argues that individuals can only grow and improve if they are free to make their own choices and learn from their mistakes. Mill contends that paternalistic interventions by the state or society stifle personal development by preventing individuals from exercising their judgment and responsibility. By allowing individuals the freedom to pursue their own goals and interests, society enables them to develop morally and intellectually. This personal growth, in turn, contributes to the overall betterment of society. The role of government. Mill acknowledges that while liberty is essential, there are certain areas where government intervention is necessary. He concedes that the state has a duty to protect individuals from harm, provide education, and ensure public order. However, he warns that government power should be carefully limited to prevent it from becoming overbearing. Mill advocates for a system of checks and balances to ensure that government authority does not encroach upon individual freedoms. He is particularly wary of paternalistic governments that seek to control the lives of their citizens for their own good. Mill argues that individuals are the best judges of their own interests and that the government should respect their autonomy. Applications of the harm principle. Mill's harm principle has wide-ranging implications for issues of law, morality, and personal freedom. He applies the principle to various social and political questions, such as freedom of speech, the regulation of personal behavior, and the role of the state in enforcing morality. Mill argues that laws restricting personal behavior, such as those related to drug use or sexual conduct, are unjust unless they prevent harm to others. He believes that individuals should be free to make their own choices in these matters, even if society disapproves of those choices. For Mill, the harm principle is a tool for balancing individual liberty with the needs of society, the legacy of On Liberty. Mill's On Liberty has had a lasting influence on liberal political thought. His defense of individual rights and freedoms has shaped modern democratic societies, particularly in areas related to free speech, civil liberties, and human rights. Mill's work has been a foundation for movements advocating for gender equality, minority rights, and personal autonomy. His ideas on the limits of state power and the protection of individual liberty continue to resonate in contemporary debates on issues such as privacy, freedom of expression, and government surveillance. John Stuart Mill's On Liberty remains a foundational text in the philosophy of liberalism. His arguments for individual freedom, the limits of state authority, and the importance of free speech are as relevant today as they were in the 19th century. Mill's harm principle provides a framework for balancing personal liberty with societal interests, and his defense of free expression is a powerful reminder of the value of open debate and discussion. On Liberty challenges us to think critically about the role of the individual in society and the proper limits of government power. Mill's enduring legacy is his commitment to defending human freedom in all its forms.